Okay. Call our meeting to order. Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Wednesday, August 21st, regular commission meeting. We do have a sign-in sheet back there. Please sign in if you haven't in that corner. If you come to the podium to speak, please say and spell your name for the record. I will open our meeting with public hearing on any subject not on the agenda that is within the Commissioner's jurisdiction. Is there any public comment? Is there any public comment? Is there any public comment? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on. First agenda item, public hearing the 2024 amended floodplain regulations. I'll go ahead and close our regular commission meeting, open up a public hearing for the amended 2024 floodplain regulations. Nicole, why don't you just give us a brief overview on that, please?
Absolutely, Sarah. Good morning, Commissioners, members of the public. Nicole Brown, Broadwater County Community Development Director and Planner, presenting the update to the Broadwater County floodplain regulations, and more formally known as floodplain hazard management regulations. This document was amended by Great West Engineering. They are working on behalf of Broadwater County to ensure that we come into compliance with DNRC amended regulatory amendments that DENRC has imparted. Also to ensure that we are in compliance with FEMA. Moreover, in the form of including the Jefferson River Firm Panel Maps. FEMA stands for Federal Emergency Management Agency, and FIRM stands for Floodplain Insurance Rate Map. So the map essentially is the depiction of the floodplain and the flood hazard areas. So the Jefferson River was previously not included in our regulations, and that is now included, which is beneficial to the citizens in our southern area of Broadwater County.
Okay, good. And I guess just so everybody knows, we do have all those maps in our office. Has it been almost a 2-year project? Is that right?
I believe so. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so this has been ongoing for quite a while. We've had a few discussions on it. And I guess we're at the point where we can finally approve the amendments. I don't have any of the questions. I mean, do you guys have any questions?
I
Or
don't.
comments?
I read through the amendments. I think a lot of the questions I had as I was going through it were things like, oh, how would someone appeal this? Having lived in something that in an area that was designated as a floodplain previously.
There is a process to do that.
Yeah.
And I think since I've been here, I think one person has done that and been successful. Put it that way too.
Well, and previously, I don't think the county necessarily, or FEMA and the county didn't line up all the time on their floodplain maps. And when I lived out in Toscan on the river, that was where.
Right, and there were some discrepancies, and that was all brought out in this process where they did actually make some changes to the map based on public comment.
I like that they added a lot for historic structures as well. So.
Yeah. Also like to mention that we did follow the model regulations from the DNRC. Okay. I guess at this point then, if there's nothing from the commission, is there any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? Okay, hearing none, I will close the public hearing and reopen our regular commission meeting, discussion decision. I don't think you really need to present again, Nicole, so is there any other comments on the 2024 amended floodplain regulations?
Mr. Chairman, my only question, and I don't think I saw it in here, is how often will this be revised, updated? Nicole, do you know that?
Mr. Chairman, would you like me to respond?
Yes, please.
I believe that this is a 10-year project, but that, again, is dependent on if there are any legislative changes that require DNRC to make additional amendments. So it's not as if it will only be done every 10 years. It could be done less. And looking at our previous document, if you can see the date on there was 2014.
Right.
So we are actually kind of in alignment there. We're still in 2024.
Okay.
Anyway, 10 years loosely, if that is a vague enough response for you.
No, that's great.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Nicole.
Yes, you're welcome.
I know in our conversations with DNRC during this process that they may be considering, they do this in sections, so they may be doing this section now from where they left off down the rest of the Missouri River here. So we'll see what their scope of work is and if they come this way. All right, if there are no other comments or questions, is there a motion?
I move to approve the 2024 amended floodplain regulations.
I will second that motion.
A motion has been made and seconded to approve the 2024 amended floodplain regulations. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Next on our agenda, discussion decision Broadwater County Airport FAA grant offer, Broadwater County Airport, and the construction contract with Bullock Contracting LLC. Alrighty, so the FAA grant document is a DocuSign document that will come in our email box, and that grant offer was let on August 12th. And it is to construct taxi lane, signage, install airport visual aid system, new windsock, apron, reconstructing the runway, lighting, and taxiway lighting. As a reminder, these are grant funds that are we received from the FAA. And the amount of this project is $3,796,279.46.
Will you say that amount again?
$3,797,279.46.
46.
Gotta get that 46 cents in there.
How do they get to that? It's just really specific.
So, as some of you may remember, this is a bit of a change from the original bid amount. We had two elective projects. One was a taxiway and a hangar area project, which was approved by the FAA. The other one was an additional ramp area that right now is on hold with the FAA. That still may happen. But right now we don't know, and if that does happen, they will roll that into this project, hopefully while all the equipment is at the airport now, so we don't have to bring it back. That costs additional money. So, any questions or comments?
My comment every time we go through something like this is thank you to Robert Petra and Associates.
They do a fantastic job, don't they?
Phenomenal and very responsive and timely. So thank you again,
Yeah.
RPA.
This document also will have to be signed by our county attorney, so we'll get that taken care of. All right, if there are no other comments or questions, is there a motion? And actually, it's for two things,
Mm.
FAA grant offer and the contract with Bullock Construction.
Which is the $3 million
Yes.
plus, okay. Okay, I move to approve the FAA grant offer for the Broadwater County Airport and for the construction contract with Bullock Contracting LLC in the amount of $3,797,279.46.
I will second that.
Alrighty, motion has been made and seconded to approve the Broadwater County FAA grant offer, Broadwater County construction contract with Bullock Contracting LLC in the amount of $3,797,279.46. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? All right, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Kay, you want me to just take this up to Corey, or?
I absolutely will.
Thank you very much.
Daryl, the next item's supposed to be 10:20.
You're a little early.
I don't think we have minutes to.
We do.
We do.
We do. We got some mail to take care of,
Oh, boy.
Okay,
so
so we could,
we will
thank you.
take care of that. Stay on track. All right, we have minutes from June 26th at 9:30 in the morning, June 26th at 10:27 in the morning. Also July 17th, July 24th, and July 31st.
226. July, you said 17th and 21st?
July 17th, 24th, and 31st.
I will move to approve both sets of minutes from June 26th, from July 17th, July 24th, and July 31st.
There was no one in there for July 11th. Did I miss? think
Let
I'm-
me check here. Did you not see one for?
Okay,
the
Then-
11th?
No.
then I will second that motion.
Okay, motion's made and seconded to approve the minutes from June 26th, July 17th, July 24th, July 31st. Any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Rather than take up everybody's time, I'll sign these later. Okay. That okay? We have some claims. Claims in the amount of $13,164.09.
I would move to approve the claims in the amount of $13,164.09.
I will second that.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve claims in the amount of $13,164.09. Any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Right, claims in the amount of $25,410.61.
I move to approve claims for $25,410.61.
I'll second that.
Motion's made and seconded to approve claims in the amount of $25,410.61. Any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, payroll in the amount of $320,896.31.
I move to approve payroll claims for $320,896.31.
I'll second that motion.
Motion's made and seconded to approve payroll in the amount of $320,896.31. Any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Well, as long as we're here, we'll just take care of this. We have a letter from the DEQ to issue a water discharge permit for the city of Columbia Falls. If you're interested in that, that letter will be on file in our office. And also the 2024 final statewide transfer station improvement program, also known as STIP, is been put out by MDT. So it's available online, or we can get a physical copy if we need it. All right, in fact, that puts us back on track. Discussion, Public Works Director TJ Gravely, solid waste assessment increase. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. TJ Gravely, Public Works Director. So last week, we all kind of had a little powwow in our commission meeting about a number that we had come up with that we had budgeted for, and that number was $245 that we felt that we needed to go to move forward.
Can I interrupt just for a moment?
Yes?
There's actually a recommendation from our solid waste board as well, was it not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. The recommendation from the Solid Waste Advisory Board was $245 that was voted on in the 13th meeting, 13th of August, I believe. In our discussion here, I presented to you guys $245 as well. With that being said, there's been other things that have come to light as the past due taxes is pretty significant. Out of the past due taxes, about $50,000 of that is coming to, or should be coming to solid waste. If you divide that out, that number by 3,168, which is the assessment numbers for the people of Broadwater County, or in our solid waste district, that's another $15.78. So with what I've come up with now, I feel that the number has to be $260, right in that general vicinity, to make our budget work this coming year. That still gives us a little bit of wiggle room for our planned improvements on equipment. It also gives us about $10,000. I think in the line item it says $28,000, but looking at that, $17,900 was junk vehicles, so you gotta kind of take that away from that.
Okay.
So,
Can I get that number from you? It was $15 and what?
78 cents?
78. So you're recommending 260?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll get my calculator out. Keep going.
I know.
Checking my math?
Well, no.
I
Wanna see how
me
much
check
you-
my math real quick. Moving forward if we stay with this assessment as we are, this number will get us into capital improvements of our equipment that is, excavator's 30 years old, the hook truck is, almost 20 years old. I think it's like 17 years old. A new hook truck right now is $300,000. I have located a couple more. It is significantly less than that. It is not new equipment. I do feel that $260 for the annual assessment would be sufficient to get our solid waste back on track. So that is $21.66 a month. I don't feel that I'm price gouging doing that. If we do go with this $260, I do want to build in an inflator into that of 3 to 3.5%, or up to 3.5%, that we don't have to levy against. We just levy about what we need. I think that's one of the things that was kind of missed when this was done in 2019. I don't believe we'd be in the position that we're in right now if that would have been taken care of then. But we've lived and learned, so I think that is a great way to go.
Just doing the quick math here. So, like you said, that our current monthly rate is $15.41.
Yep.
What you're proposing would be $21.66. So the reality is that's a $6.25 per month increase.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
That's a nice latte. That's how I look at it.
If you drink that.
If you drink that, it's less than beer. Just putting it in perspective.
It is. I know we got some big discussions coming up next week, but this is a number I'm going to stand behind, and I can make my budget work off of it.
Okay. Well, I think something that's important to discuss again, hopefully people can understand better, is one thing that's changed with our solid waste program is we have the CIP, the capital improvement, that we have never had before. So
Correct.
part of this budget is that to allow us to purchase the equipment that we desperately need. That is to continue to do that. Okay.
You know, I'll say this: our hook truck that I told you guys about, I told you it was over $300,000 for a brand new one. I'm not looking that way. It's significantly less than what we put into the budget, which would allow me, if our excavator goes down, that I can lease one for a year and still be under that $204,000.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we've ever purchased anything new other than maybe a grader. We always
The excavator was brand new in 1993.
yeah, we've always purchased something, a good used piece of equipment.
Yeah.
So
I would rather let somebody else take the hit than the county.
okay.
Mr. Chair, may I ask a question?
Yes, you may.
Depending on what the solid waste board suggests and what the commission looks at moving forward past this initial year at this rate or whatever rate is chosen, is it an option to lease a hook truck or equipment?
It is not.
Not an option. Okay.
For a hook truck, there is no option for that I've found.
Excavator?
Yes.
And I guess something too that I want to mention here. So you mentioned the delinquent taxes, which is a significant amount. And I want people to understand that the county is pursuing those delinquent taxes per statute. Our treasurer has issued the delinquency notices. She has also issued the liens that are allowed by statute to be placed on that property. And also assignments have started, I believe, this week. So if there's delinquent property out there, people can take an assignment on it, and that process will start as a 3-year process. From what I'm hearing from our treasurer, that has spurred a lot of people to come in and pay those back taxes. I hope that will continue. And we'll see, we'll get a report from her and see where we're at. And but you're right, every one of those unpaid tax bills has a solid waste assessment attached to it.
Yep.
And that's what you're looking at.
And that was something that I didn't look at. When it was brought to my attention, my eyes kind of got open pretty wide there for a second. And it was something that the Solid Waste Advisory Board never even got to see.
Mm-hmm.
This was discovered very early, and it is something that has to be spread out over everybody in the county.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's just how it is.
Okay. Maybe real quickly, I mean, from what I hear, it sounds like a lot of folks are coming forward, paying the assessment, and I appreciate that. I mean, that shows the character of our residents to come forward and take care of their business. So I say thank you for that.
We have had probably 25% come in and pay right now in 10 days.
Yep.
So that's pretty darn good. It's about 53,000 as of the end of
great.
last week. So
Perfect.
I haven't looked at this week's numbers yet, but right now we're starting to see the influx of the money coming in.
All right. Very good. Thank you to our residents for doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
And residents, just so the public's aware, residents can come down and pay those at your office. What hours? What days?
Our office is extremely busy right now, as you can imagine. Monday, it is open from 8 to 3. Tuesday through Friday from 7:30, or probably go 8 because the courthouse isn't open, till 5:30. People have been pretty good about coming in.
Okay.
This week has been a whole lot calmer than the previous week. We got beat up pretty good there for a while, but once we explain it to them, people have been very understanding.
All right. Anything else?
I'll just add, because I got a call yesterday. Somebody was upset. I'm sorry, I got a call Monday. Somebody was upset Cedar Street wasn't open.
On Monday?
They're
Cedar
not-
Street's never been open on
I explained
Mondays.
that. So I just want, again, for the public, correct me if I'm wrong, TJ, none of the sites are open on Mondays.
The transfer
The tra-
station
except the
is
transfer
open. The
station.
sites are all closed.
And Cedar is open Tuesday through Friday, 6 to 6, and Saturday and Sunday, 10 till 6.
Yep.
Right.
So he was quite upset by Monday, but I explained to him.
Well, you added hours to Cedar.
I've
didn't
added
even
32 hours
Yeah.
between Cedar Street and the transfer station.
You did not change hours at the outlying sites.
The outlying
just the
sites
walking
are the
hours.
exact same.
Right.
Howard, they did change at Winston earlier this year.
Mhm.
You did add hours at Winston.
I did add hours at Winston. I added 8 hours at Winston. I added a Tuesday, Thursday into Winston from 2 to 6 in the summer, and it'll be 1 to 5 in the wintertime. It's one thing we'll have to probably discuss moving forward as winter hours come up,
Yep.
daylight.
Yes.
Mhm.
We are in the process of putting lights up down at Cedar Street. We will have 2 floodlights on each pole down there for right now with the option. I'm waiting on the bid to come back from Northwest Energy to put 2 more poles, and we're going to light it up down there. So hopefully it won't become an issue where we would have to change those, but the possibility is there. The hours might have to change.
All right, sounds good. In talking with our solid waste attendants, it seems that the people that have been receiving their stickers are putting them in their windows as they should. So
Yep. We're hoping to have them out. I would love to have all of them out by the end of the month,
Yeah.
because come October 1st, it's 100% compliance where you come to the office and pay your assessment.
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
may I add to that real quick?
Yes.
Just from what we were talking about earlier, just so people know, if you're going to get, it's attached to your tax number. Can you explain that? And then what they need to do if they need more decals?
So the decals are attached to your tax ID number, and each tax ID number will get 2. If they choose to purchase an extra one, they're going to cost $10. And right now, if you would like an extra one, we're asking people to wait till we can get through the mailings to see if we're going to end up having to order more, because there has been a lot of inquiries on the extra tags. Another inquiry we're having is, as I told you guys, the tax assessment is attached to the property. One thing we didn't take into account is 5 homes on a property. You're seeing this on the larger ranches. I'll take the heat for that. I assume, and you know what that does when you assume, I'm assuming that the tax is hooked to the house. That's not the case in all of them. There is a select few, not very many, but most of them are coming in with the tax number being assessed to the one house, not to the 5 houses.
Yeah. I think another thing worth mentioning is on some of the delinquent taxes, a lot of them are related to mobile homes,
Yes.
which is a big challenge not only for you but for our treasurer. Because mobile homes, as we all know, mobile means they move around. So trying to keep up with them is very difficult. They're supposed to get a permit from our treasurer to move it before they do, although many of them don't. And therein lies part of the problem. So it's not as cut and dried as you would imagine.
That's right.
Okey doke. Well, I think we're having this discussion on the 28th, is that correct?
We're having a public hearing on the 28th, and I will have the resolution in hand if we go with the number I proposed of $260. 265?
You said 260. What are you, an auctioneer?
I can if you would like.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I will say I've done a lot of math on this for a couple weeks now. We'll figure it out, the final number, but my number in my head right now is 275.
Oh.
So I may be.
It is an auction.
I may need security as I leave the building.
275, 280?
Now you're an auctioneer. So I
Yeah.
may need security as I leave the building. But I do have some rationale and some reasons behind that. And I'm open to others.
Yeah, I understand that as well. There are other factors out there. All right,
So
Commissioner Rickmeyer, any comments? Any predictions?
We taking bets? No. No.
All right,
No, thank you.
all right, very good. Anything else?
Not at this time.
Okay, good enough. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks, TJ.
Thank you.
How are the roads? Do you want to say anything about roads? We keep talking about solid waste.
Not on there.
I know, I just,
You can always say something.
Sure, I will real quick. I'll just make a brief statement. The graders are out working on the school bus routes for school start next week. So all the roads should be in good shape.
Good.
all the school bus roads should be in good shape by then.
Great. I'll also mention that, you know, the road crew, they've been doing a great job this
Yes.
summer. They've got a lot of their mowing done already. The roads are shaped up. We've put out a lot of mag chloride on our roads, which
We did put out a lot of mag.
is going to be very helpful, holding our roads together and helping on the maintenance of those. So we're going down the right path, I believe.
I hope so. With the hot, dry summer, it took its toll on our roads, so.
Sure, it always does. And of course, right now we're going to harvest time, so there's going to be a lot of grain trucks, and potato trucks, and all that kind of stuff hitting those roads. And I'm sure we'll have to shape them back up before winter comes on. But
I'm thinking we might be very busy this fall. We're
Yeah.
lucky that we don't have the milling
Yeah.
projects going on that we do, so.
do we need to do anything? I know there were some areas where you had to put some signage out. Like I'm trying to think of.
On our weight restrictions?
Yeah,
Stuff like that?
or was it speed limits?
Oh, we did. We put, I think it was the 12th of August was the due date on the speed limit change on Mill Street out in Radersburg.
Okay.
Our 30 days had passed and that got put up. And as you guys well know, we had weight restrictions on in a handful of areas. And it actually worked out very well because all the trucks were very compliant of not going in there overloaded.
All right. All right, perfect. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay, next on our agenda, discussion decision, community developer and planner Nicole Brown, Montana Crossroads minor subdivision request final plat approval. Nicole.
Hello again, Commissioners. Nicole Brown, Broadwater County Community Development Director. I'm going to sit through this one because I've got a fair amount of paperwork to go through. Commissioner Randolph has the original final plat binder in front of her. I am here to present the Montana Crossroads minor subdivision for final plat approval. I believe the developer has met all conditions of approval. So with that, each of you should have your staff report with the conditions of approval, beginning on page 14 of said report. I will give you a minute to get there.
Say which page beginning?
14.
14.
Page 14. I also want to note that the developer, Mr. Craig Ricker, is here in attendance today, so should you have questions at the end of my presentation, I'm sure he'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. All right, Commissioner Randolph, are you ready?
You just tell me what to do.
Perfect, okay. So I'm going to begin by how we'll do this. I will read through each condition of approval. Commissioner Randolph will pass around the documents that pertain to that condition of approval. I also want to note for the public's benefit, these conditions of approval, as they have been met, they've been posted on the website for at least a week and a half, possibly 2 weeks. The commissioners have also had the opportunity to review all of these documents. So this is not your first time viewing these documents that I believe meet the conditions of approval. So with that, I will begin. Condition number 1. Prior to submission of a final plat application, the applicant shall submit plans for wastewater treatment and water supply systems to the Montana Department of Environmental Quality, DEQ, and the Broadwater County Environmental Health Department for review and approval. The applicant shall submit documentation to the Broadwater County Community Development Department from DEQ and the Broadwater County Environmental Health Department verifying their review and approval. All specifications and requirements of the approved plans that are required to be completed prior to final plat approval shall be met at the cost of the applicant. So the documents that will be coming around, and I'll pause after each one to give you time to review them. The documents that will be coming around to satisfy condition number 1 You'll see there's a letter in there from the Broadwater County Environmental Health Officer. There's also a DEQ approval in there. Of importance on that DEQ approval, it's noted that a public reclaimed water supply system for irrigation water, fire, and the flushing of toilets will be utilized, and that is approved by DEQ. There also will be one public water supply well to serve this development that is approved by DEQ. And lastly, the public sewage treatment system connection to the Headwaters Utility District public wastewater system is approved by DEQ.
I guess just real quickly, since we are talking about the impacts on water and wastewater, at this point, maybe it's talk about a little bit about what we did as a commission. We did consider other publicly available resource information, as well as a focused review of Montana Crossroads Minor Subdivision proposal with an independent contracting or engineering firm. So, I mean, I guess that's all I really want to say about that. I believe that we did our due diligence there as well. The other thing that's important about this is that this is a permitted well. It's not an exempt well. And the aquifer that this well was drilled to is well below what the normal well depth would be in that area.
That's correct.
Anything else? Okay.
All right, moving on. Condition number 2, prior to any development and/or soil disturbance, the applicant shall submit a subdivision noxious weed management and revegetation plan for the proposed subdivision to the Broadwater County Weed District for review and approval. All specifications and requirements of the approved plan shall be met at the cost of the applicant. The applicant shall submit documentation to the Broadwater County Community Development Department from the Weed District verifying their review and approval. So what you have coming around is the signed and approved Broadwater County Weed Management Plan. Moving on to condition 3. Prior to submitting the final subdivision plat application, the applicant shall complete a fire protection plan for the purpose of furthering fire protection. The fire protection plan shall be created with concurrence by the Three Forks Fire District. And what you have or will have in front of you is a signed and approved fire plan that has been signed and approved by the Three Forks Volunteer Fire Department. It's the top page on that packet notes that there will be 3 hydrants on this project. And so that is satisfactory to the Three Forks Volunteer Fire District.
So something that's important in this report is that the hydrants have been tested as well. And they meet the requirements. Thanks, Linda. I know this is exciting stuff, but
Well,
I think it's exciting.
I'm not feeling the best, so I'm gonna
all right.
call it and I'll check in on this on YouTube.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Linda.
All right, condition 4. The applicant shall complete the following to construct the internal access roads. A, prior to submitting the final subdivision plat application, the applicant shall improve all subdivision roads, providing legal and physical access to all lots to the specifications required by the county's subdivision regulations. And B, all roads are to be built in accordance with the reviewed and approved plans. An engineer registered in the state of Montana shall certify all road improvements as meeting county subdivision road standards. The applicant shall be responsible for all costs associated with meeting this condition of approval. And so what you have coming around in this very large packet, there's a lot of information in this packet to satisfy condition 4. A lot of it is road, what do I want to say? The integrity of the road. The core samples and the creation of the road. I'm sorry, I'm not speaking very eloquently. It's structure. Thank you. Construction and the structure of the road. Anyway, that's what a lot of this information in condition number 4 packet coming around is. The top, the very first letter in that packet is a letter from the developer's engineer certifying that these roads do meet a local number 2 road standard, which is any road between 401 and 1,500 vehicle trips per day.
We all had I think we had a separate meeting about an updated traffic impact study for this as well. So I think we're all familiar with that. That got it to the local number 2 standard.
Correct. I'm going to start on number 5 because I'm actually going to read part of the condition of approval, the letter. Anyway, condition number 5 states, prior to any construction, the applicant shall request an approach permit from Montana Department of Transportation for the proposed access point onto U.S. Highway 287 for the 2 subdivision approach roads. Installation of the approach shall be completed in accordance with the approved permit. And at this time, I would like to read into the record the MDT letter that it was provided to satisfy this condition of approval. I think it's an important letter, important enough that it needs to be read into the record. So if I may,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
this letter is dated February 27th, 2024 to the Broadwater County Commissioners, specifically Daryl Folkford, from Leroy Wasoba. He is the SIAP Section Supervisor for MDT, Montana Department of Transportation. The letter reads, Dear Broadwater County Commissioners, MDT has drafted this letter to the Broadwater County Commission on behalf of developer Craig Rickert. The developer has proposed approaches located along US 287 at milepost 107.05 and 106.95 for access to the Montana Crossroads Minor Subdivision Development. We hope that this letter will be accepted by the Commissioners and provide sufficient assurances regarding MDT permits to allow the developer to complete the county's process for final plat approval. With regard to our review, MDT has agreed to issue temporary construction permits at Coulter's Run and Alexander Way, formerly Wheatland Road, to allow on-site construction. The permitted use is limited to construction until such time the developer completes the review process for the permanent approach permits. As for the permanent permit reviews, MDT will continue working with the developer, providing comments and exchanging information until all MDT permit requirements, including any financial guarantee for future improvements, have been met. Though we cannot guarantee that the developer will complete MDT's process, we generally consider the conceptual design and location for the permanent approaches as permittable actions in MDT right-of-way. MDT has every expectation that we will conclude our review by issuing the requested permanent permits for access to US 287. And he gives his phone number at the end. So, and that again is from Leroy Wasoba, SIAP, Section Supervisor with MDT. So moreover, to summarize that letter, MDT notes that the permanent permits have not been issued. They have issued temporary permits, but MDT will continue working with the applicant to make sure that those permits are finalized into a permanent status. So that is not obligating the commissioners to work with MDT nor the developer to ensure that those permits fall into a permanent status.
Is it fair to assume that we will get those reports?
No, I don't know that you should make that assumption. I would hope so,
Right.
but I can't say for certain now.
Was there any discussion, or I remember a question being asked about turn lanes down there? That would be strictly with MDT and the developer, or is that all MDT, just deciding on that?
Mr. Chair, if I may respond,
Yes.
Commissioner Rickmeyer, I would think that would absolutely be MDT and the developer that would have that communication. And again, I would hope that MDT would loop the county in. Maybe you would not have a seat at the table, but at least be a part of the discussion. At least you would get information regarding that discussion. But I can't guarantee that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any further questions on condition 5, or would you like me to move on? All right, moving on. Condition number 6. Prior to final plat approval, the applicant shall have plans for the location and installation of mailbox units reviewed and approved by the United States Postal Service prior to installation. The applicant shall submit documentation from the United States Postal Service verifying their approval. The applicant shall be responsible for all costs associated with meeting this condition of approval. And what you have in your packet coming around is the letter from the Three Forks Postmaster approving the mailbox location or mailboxes. Condition number 7, the applicant shall, at the applicant's expense, have a final subdivision plat prepared in accordance with the applicable state survey requirements and the Broadwater County subdivision regulations. In addition, the final plat shall show and describe the following. A no access restriction along the western subdivision boundary adjacent to US Highway 287, except for those approved by MDT. B, all existing and proposed utility easements on the subject property. C, any existing ditch or irrigation easements. D, mailbox locations and easements if on site. E, easements for fire protection facilities if on site. And F, easements for stormwater conveyance and detention or retention ponds if on site. Commissioners, I did not bring over the large Mylar final plat maps because those are quite cumbersome. Also, they have all of the original signatures, and I did not want to damage the integrity of those plat maps. So you do have coming around some very small versions of the final plat map. However, I know that you have all seen them electronically, and I have had the large plat map on the table in my office, and I know each of you individually have come in and perused that plat map. But in any case, I know this version coming around is quite small, but if you have questions, I will do my best to answer them. going to start on condition 8 because it's rather lengthy. And I have it tabbed in your packet there with the blue sticky note, the location for these covenants. So condition number 8 is indeed the covenants that the county requests be placed on the property. The book and page reference to the restrictive covenants filed with the clerk and recorder's office shall be indicated on the face of the plat. In addition, restrictive covenants shall be placed upon the property and shall provide for the following. And this begins on page 15 of the Declaration of Covenants, Conditions, and Restrictions. They are identified as mandatory covenants under Article 10. Again, that page was tabbed there, so hopefully you'll be able to locate it easily, but I know you've all had an opportunity to look at this. 8A states, notice is hereby given that all lots shall be used for commercial or industrial purposes only per the subdivision application. B, notice is hereby given that each owner of any lot, by acceptance of a deed, therefore whether or not it shall be so expressed in such deed, waives the right to protest joining or the amendment of a rural improvements district for the installation, maintenance, preservation, and repair of the following: roads that provide access to the subdivision, stormwater improvements for the subdivision, fire protection improvements for the subdivision. C, notice is hereby given that each lot shall be maintained in a weed-free manner, and a noxious weed and revegetation plan has been prepared for the subdivision and is on file with the Broadwater County Clerk and Recorder's Office. D, notice is hereby given of the potential health risk from radon concentrations, and that such risk can be evaluated through soil tests and mitigated through radon abatement techniques incorporated into structures. E, notice is hereby given that all structures within the subdivision should be constructed to specifications which meet or exceed equivalent provisions in the applicable state building code for this seismic zone, which is Zone 3. F, notice is hereby given of a restrictive covenant binding the landowner, any heirs, successors, and assigns, and all future owners of property within the subdivision agreeing therein to hold Broadwater County harmless and indemnify Broadwater County from all claims, demands, obligations, suits, causes of action, damages, and liability, including the county's costs and attorney's fees, arising in any manner whatsoever out of or relating to the existence, use, operation, repair, and or maintenance of the following. Subitem 1, exposure to radon. 2, earthquake fault zone and any seismic activity. And 3, water availability. G, notice is hereby given of the presence of agricultural operations in the vicinity, and such operations may occur at varying times and seasons and include, but are not limited to, the noises and odors due to the operation of machinery, the pasturing and feeding of livestock, irrigation, and the application of fertilizers, herbicides, and pesticides to fields. H, notice is hereby given that domestic pets should be restrained on the property at all times. Condition number 9. In cooperation with Broadwater County, the applicant shall create or expand an existing rural improvement district for the maintenance, preservation, and repair of the internal subdivision roads. So what you have coming around is a road maintenance agreement for the internal subdivision roads, specifically as they pertain to this subdivision.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Okay.
The roads, as I was reading through all of this, the roads that the property owners association basically is taking care of the roads with the road maintenance agreement. None of that money is coming from the TIF in the area, correct? It's not going to be pulled from the TIF for the road improvements as needed or discussed.
Mr. Chair, may I answer that?
Please go ahead.
So not automatically. I don't want to speak to the TED or the TIF in the sense of if the owners of the property, I know that there is a way, but that's more in Kay's wheelhouse and our CAO, Bill Jiraki's wheelhouse when it comes to managing the TED, but it won't just be an automatic, the road maintenance will be paid for by that. As I understand it, there's a mechanism for the lot owners to make that request to the TED.
Okay.
But it's not an automatic, the road maintenance is just occurring out of TED funds. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it defines it better.
Okay.
I see that they have to have an annual meeting about roads and conditions and whatnot for their road improvement or road management. But that was my biggest question, that it wasn't just assumed that that money was coming from the TIF.
That is correct.
Okay.
Condition number 10, the applicant shall submit a signage plan for traffic control and street identification signs for the internal access roads to the Community Development Department for review and approval. All specifications and requirements of the approved plan shall be met at the cost of the applicant. And what you have before you to satisfy condition 10 is an approved traffic signage, a signage plan for traffic control. I was saying that backwards. Or traffic control signage plan, if you will.
So Nicole, I have a question on this.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
You may need to come up here and point to me. Is this stop at Alexander's Way and Barrett's Way? Is this for, this stop sign is for here or it's for here? Yeah.
So the stop sign that you're referring to, Commissioner Randolph, is for Barron's Way entering onto Alexander's Way. So Alexander's Way, if you will, would be a through street.
Okay.
The same with Coulter's Run.
Okay.
Barron's Way is the controlled road, if you will. So folks taking a right or left-hand turn on Barron's Way would have to stop at the intersection of Alexander's. Same with Coulter's Run, the southerly road. They would have to, Barron's Way, the control is on Barron's Way to stop for a right or left-hand turn.
Alexander's is going to turn here, does not need to stop.
Correct.
Perfect.
So a little confused on that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We can go ahead.
Ready? Okay. Condition number 11. Prior to final plat approval, the applicant shall A, provide proof that all real property taxes and special assessments assessed and levied on the property are paid for the current tax year, including any past delinquencies. And B, provide documentation showing that the applicant is the lawful owner of the property with the apparent authority to subdivide the same, and showing the names of lien holders or claimants of record. So what you have coming around is a receipt showing the taxes have been paid for the current tax year. And also you will have a plating certificate depicting Montana Crossroads LLC as the lawful owner of the property. I believe the date on that is July 26th. I'm sorry, on the plating certificate, excuse me, is July 26th of 2024. I also want you to know that Mr. Nathan Stroman with Rocky Mountain Title, who is present today, just prior to this meeting, handed me a new plating certificate, which you have not seen, the public has not seen, but I want you to know it is dated August 16th, 2024, and it still shows Montana Crossroads LLC as the lawful owner of the property. So that was not made available to the public nor you commissioners, but I want you to know that the ownership stands the same as of August 16th, 2024. And that concludes the list of conditions. If you have questions, I am certainly available.
I don't have any additional questions. Anyone?
I don't. It's been a lot to read through, and I know we all have, and have reread it and reread it.
I think everything I had questions on the list. That's it.
Okay. If there are no additional comments or questions, let's see, we need to, where's my little sheet? I guess we have the approve, disapprove, or approve with conditions and disapprove. Is that correct?
No, essentially you just need to make a motion whether or not you would like to grant final plat approval.
We don't have to do the conditions?
Correct.
Okay. Very good. Is there a motion?
I move to approve Montana Crossroads Minor Subdivision Final Plat.
I will second that.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the Montana Crossroads Minor Subdivision request for final plat approval. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Craig.
Are you excited?
I'm glad to have this done. Murdoch's will be too.
All right, go make it happen.
I think that's the last thing on our agenda, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm going to gather up all of my paperwork and put it back in order.
We did all the claims in mail.
Yeah.
Let's see, what do we got? Well, I got
think you needed to
oh, no,
sign
that's, I
something.
gotta sign those.
Sign minutes.
Can I ask a question about the subdivision map?
Hold on.
Yes.
You should ask that question when we were,
Well, I have a question about what you're going to do now. Is it going to be today or tomorrow? You have to go over there and sign the plat, correct?
yeah.
Are you doing that today? With
Use
review?
the-
Are they ready to sign,
I'm
Nicole?
sorry, and
Yeah,
then
no problem. Hi, Nathan Stroman, Rocky Mountain Title. So is this survey going to be recorded today? Is it going to be recorded tomorrow? We need to know because Murdoch's they're going to want to see all the recorded documents,
Well,
so they can
talk
get
to
closed.
our Clerk and recorder, she's right here.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Angie Paulson, Broward County Clerk and Recorder. May I speak?
Yes,
to
you may.
Answer the question. Mr. Stroman, it may be dropped off in my office. I cannot guarantee that it will be recorded today. So it probably would be today or tomorrow.
Okay. Could you let me know when that's done so I can get some
Absolutely.
recording information?
Yes,
Great,
I will.
thank you. And so you're all going to go over there and sign it today, though? That was the original question. All right, perfect. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Craig.
Okay, if there's nothing else to come before the commission, we are adjourned.